I was reading a blog today about this dude talking about he doesn't regularly attend church. And one of the reasons that he gives about why he doesn't attend church, he says that the Bible doesn't give us specific instructions as to what the church look like, which means that no one can really claim to attend a biblical church. And so that's a red flag up. So to say that the Bible didn't tell us what the church looks like, I just kind of want to go down some scriptures and point out some things to claim that the Bible doesn't tell us what the church should look like, but it also it doesn't allow a person to substitute their own preferences to clear what the teaching of the scripture is and what the teaching of the scripture is. So I want to give you 6 reasons why the Bible, 6 reasons that the Bible shows us what the church look like. All right, so the first reason is Matthew 18:20. We're going to do quite a bit of turning tonight. We're going to talk about a few things. First of all, we live, David, let me first say, because my inbox been blowing up, the ignorance of people. For those of you that don't know, I was appointed state director of pastors by our state overseer, Jonathan Woods. We had talked about it some months ago, but we didn't really solidify it. I didn't really know it was in stone until it got published, and then Negroes started. Now, if you Google the word fellowship, first of all, Full Gospel Baptist Church, fellowship is a fellowship. The state leader church is not a Baptist church. It's a non-denominational church. We have a Presbyterian church that's up in Athens that's a part of the fellowship. It's a fellowship. So no, I am still CME. I'm going to be CME for a minute, for a while, probably in my life. But it just shows the ignorance of people that they will look at one thing and they will run with it. The sad commentary is those of you that call yourselves members should know better. Since we've been in the fellowship, we were saying that it's a fellowship. We've been saying that. So what has changed since we became CME? We still doing the same thing we've been doing. So I just wanted to say that, and I started putting up some other stuff. I'm like, nah. I know they go back and they look at Bible studies and so let me just go on and deal with that. Now, the thing is, the appointment that I had, it don't add not a dime in my household. Not one red cent. It's going to require more of my time, but the overseer knows that I have a heart for pastors and to help pastors to better develop themselves. I like teaching, and he knows that's what I like to do. We talked about it so much ago. And then I'm of the persuasion that if you're going to lead, either you're going to lead or you're going to sit down. And he knows that, and so that's why I'm in the position that I'm in. So it's all right. I guess, people sometimes it take people too fast. It took them off guard. They couldn't take it. So no, I'm not the state leader. Our state leader is Jonathan Wood, but I am the leader of the pastors. And all I'm really going to be doing is develop some strategies to help pastors and all over the state. Y'all do realize that I have a doctorate degree in pastoral leadership. So that's kind of what my expertise are. Okay. That's just in case people ask me, my doctorate is in pastoral leadership. All right. So, Oh, no, You got you know, you get some together, you know. And some of y'all know how to get from there. But anyway, it's a fellowship, all right? So it's no different from being a part of the NAACP or the SELC or the Ku Klux Klan. It's a fellowship, all right? I mean, you'll be amazed at the calls that I got. Folks said to me from other cities, church, did you run that by Bishop? Sir, please get off my phone. Please get off my phone. And for those of you that don't know, the Bishop is in numerous other organizations. Matter of fact, she's in a united fellowship that consists of United Church of Christ, Disciples of Christ, Methodist. I mean, so yeah, all right. So we cool with that. Any questions, Dave? Any questions about it? And if you want to ask any question that y'all have, call me. Don't call my number. Call me. Area code 904-993-1252. I got call ID. So just call me if you have any questions. All right? Can I repeat? Yeah.
No. So can you just flip your phone up?
Can I what?
Flip your phone.
What am I flipping it over? You say
sent you something.
I don't see it.
You don't see it?
I ain't got me. You said something. You said it to this phone? Okay. All right. So let's talk about church. Let's talk about what does the Bible have to say about church, because we're living in a time where, and we're finding out, more and more that there are people that are actually they don't feel like they need to attend church, that they can pick up their phone and they can pick up their iPad and they can log on and they can stay in the bed, and that's their church for the day. They can pay their money online and they think that's their church for the day. And so I found out, and you heard me say this in the past, that I'm a stickler of people do what they want to do. People make a sacrifice for what they want to make a sacrifice for. When I see people in the street, I don't ask them where they've been. I don't say, see you Sunday. I don't say any of that stuff, because just like they know when their children's tournament is, they know what time we have church. And so one reason why my children don't play sports is because in my house, I was raised in the house that you had to go to church. In my house, now, there's no exception. So any games that are going to be played on Sundays or anything like that, no, we ain't doing that. Sundays are for the Lord. But that's what me and my wife have agreed upon, to each his own. But there are just some things that we not going to do on Sunday. Some people watch 7 days a week, What day you going to rest? Jesus rested one day, at least. So what day you gonna read? You watch it 7 days a week. You can watch them do something every day, and by the end of the week you'll have it done. But so let's talk. I'm gonna talk for a minute. Matthew 18 verse 20. You got that? I think Ron just said this. You just said it? I still ain't got it. For well. Y'all read Matthew 18:20? I don't know. That's the devil. They won't come through. Somebody gonna read it?
For when 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there I am in the midst of them.
All right. So 2 or 3 are gathered in my name. I'm in the midst of them. So you can have a church at your house if you want to.
Yes.
If that's what you want to do. It's 2 or 3.
He said in his name.
Now, that's the other part.
Yeah.
You got to be gathered in his name, but that's all that's up. So, we were talking about that work, some team building exercises, and we was talking about what's valuable to us as an organization, as a team. How can we better work together with people? And of course, I always play devil's advocate, and I say, well, first thing is, we got to plug up this hole we got. If I look at when I started there, I talked with them a year and 2 months later, and only a handful of folks still here that started here. So how do you expect people to gel and work together and do what we need to do for our patients and our families if they don't know each other. Everybody do. The people that jail together are the people that's been alone. So, all right. So, church consists of believers coming together in the same physical space. In the same space. Not online. Online is for folk that at work and can't get here, sick and shut in. That's different. But if you can get here physically, you need to come to the place with the saints. I mean, we ain't even gonna talk about Sunday. I don't want to discuss Sunday, because that was a mess in there Sunday. I don't know, y'all must have knew Jesus Sunday. So in the same physical space, back to what Walt said, in the name of Jesus Christ. In the same space. So to gather together in the name of Jesus means you gather together for public worship, serve Jesus, and help others love Jesus. And if you're not gathered together with other believers in the name of Jesus, then you don't need to call yourself a church. There's a whole lot of gatherings happen on Sunday morning, but it ain't no church. All right. Dr. Snow, you're a mess. I just got your screen.
I didn't know what it was about, now I get it.
Okay. So if you're not gathered together with believers in the name of Jesus Christ, then you don't need to call yourself a church. All right. So our Christmas party, our work Christmas party is Friday. We gather, but we ain't gathering in His name. We gathering now, but it ain't gonna be His name. Matter of fact, we ain't even gathering in a holy place. We gonna gather at a brewery. In the company now. I'm going because they give out money. That's all. They were asking me, Jeff, you come, what you playing? It don't matter. I get win some prize. Yeah. All right. So that's the first thing. A biblical church involves at least two people gathering together in the name of Jesus. All right. So that's the first question you can. We're not question, statement that you can say. And people say, what does a church consist of? You gotta have two or three people. You gotta be gathered in. Now I want to go to 1 Corinthians 11. Skip over a few chapters, a few books. I'm going to start at verse 23. So I want to read it.
For I have received of the Lord that which also I delivered unto you, that the Lord Jesus, the same night in which He was betrayed, took bread. And when He had given thanks, He broke it and said, Take, eat, this is my body which is broken for you, to do this in remembrance of me. After the same manner, also He took up the cup when he had supped, saying, This cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do ye as often as you drink it, in remembrance of me. For as often as ye eat this bread and drink this cup, ye do show the Lord's death until He come.
All right. So the second thing is the church celebrates the Lord's Supper together. Jesus commanded His followers to regularly come together to remember and celebrate His death. All right? This is a command. It's not an option. It's not an add-on. This is what we're supposed to do. I don't care what denomination you in. Everybody has community. I think some Pentecostal churches only do it a certain time of year. I don't know the biblical background for that, but they only do it, I think they skip over this, what Walter just read. All right, so it's a command. So the Lord's Supper is an event in which the church publicly proclaims the death of Christ, that he died. All right, and then not only do you proclaim that he died, but you also celebrate that he is risen. All right, so if you're not celebrating the Lord's Supper with other believers, then don't call yourself a church. It's going to be some wine where we'll be at Friday, but we ain't going to have communion. Because we ain't going to be celebrating. We ain't going to celebrate the Lord's death. At least I don't think they are. All right, any questions before I move on? So, this word church, talk about, I've been teaching you about the church thing, the heart, but there is something to say about us coming together, collectively, worshiping our God that is powerful. Now, I'm not saying that you don't fear God at your house, because you do, I know you do, and that's good, but you shouldn't neglect to forsake yourselves together. You shouldn't neglect that. And so, let's just talk about this. Let me digress for a minute. So, people make all kinds of excuses why they don't come to church. But the last time I went to the casino, and then years ago, I'm just saying. Well, the last time I went to the casino, I saw people in wheelchairs, walkers, oxygen tanks. I mean, wasn't nobody complaining. Everybody was doing their thing, and they were happy, and they were together. But what is this thing where, you know, we grew up, you couldn't miss too many Sundays out of church without feeling some kind of guilt. And now folks stay away from church a whole quarter and they ain't working. So what has happened? What has happened to us from then to now? Is it that is it that technology has taken over? Is it that we feel like, I mean, what is it? I mean, that's not a rhetorical question.
I'd like to start by going back to what you said earlier. You know, when everybody's getting in your business about your position, and the key word in your position is fellowship. And you made an example, you know, about it's no different from one person to one thing. It's just like you can be you got your degree, getting there. And it's just like you go to a college and get a professor. So nobody has anything to say about that. You know, so you know what I'm saying? So you can teach there, but it's the same thing. So God just let you you're in God's kingdom using the gift that He's provided you. Right. All right. And the other part, and I don't know exactly what we part about, do my background and say, but forsake not this simply as people. Mm-hmm. But these other people can talk about everything else. But church is what the assembly needs to be to honor Him. Yeah. But it's still the same time. It's like, hey, I ain't on there because they got too many men on there. You know, that's the excuse. And I was taking on to, you know, we were made to be responsible enough to have to enter church, even as kids when we didn't want to. And I think more people got to the point where they feel like, I ain't going there because I don't have to now. So the church has become more of just a place to go as a place to come to worship. And when they feel like that, it's like, well, I don't want to go out there. They find every excuse on why not to come. And that the people under them, their children are not being taught. They're not, you know, for the most part, not living. So it's like, it's just church. And the first thing that the society does, and Satan is the author of all of it. But the first thing society does is write church off as the message place to be. Well, there's messy people in the world too. You know, but they can amplify it when it comes down to the church. And I know it shouldn't be, but we know it does.
Well, that's how it is. So, what's our thoughts? Anybody else?
We have transformed to the world, not transformed to the Word of God. You go back to the Sunday school, because Sunday school was talking, I think it was, one of the guys looking for her wife. And he said he was going to get some water, and he wanted Rebecca to do a certain thing. That's what he asked the Lord. And Rebecca did. And that's what he prayed for. So he expected that from God. And God does the same thing today. But we have transformed until the newness. The blessings have taken us away from trusting on jobs and the houses and cars and not really putting the trust in God the way that we should. So God is not the priority. The worldly things are the priority. That's my opinion.
I agree. Anybody else? I agree with you. So we have conformed to the world and not the world has conformed to us.
I think there's no reverence for the church.
There's no what?
People don't revere the sanctity of the church. You know, I remember growing up, you would never hear people just having so much negative things to say about the church, and like publicly and things like that. And now it's just it just rolls off their tongue like it's nothing. So I feel like there's no, people don't have that same respect for God as it was when we were coming up.
So has God changed or has people changed?
The people have changed.
So, how do we get from our parents' generation to this generation? I mean, how do we stop everything that we were taught and everything that we stood on, the things that we didn't do on Sunday? Sunday was a day of worship. How do we stop doing what we were taught to do? Why you think about it? Let me say this. It's the same principle as I don't understand parents these days. The children got D's and F's and you buy them toys. It makes no sense to me. I mean, they playing sports. And you pushing them in sports, but they can't read. And we see it every day. I hate to see, I'm sorry to say this, but I hate to see some of our athletes even talk on TV. They need to take a speech course. It's ridiculous. Because we had to take speech. That was a part of curriculum in school. They don't have to do that anymore. So have we not passed on to our children what was passed on to us? We have. We have.
We have requirements.
I'm gonna tell you, my dad wasn't no church though, like that. Not no every Sunday. He would go every now and then, but he never fussed about my mama taking us. These days, it's turned around. He acting a fool about you going to church. Let's just be, y'all got so quiet. This real talk. This happening. You must be going with somebody in church. Well, why don't you come and see?
Yeah, that was good.
You must be going. Well, why don't you come and see? My dad had sense enough to know it might be my mama and these children that go to church and pray for my crazy upbringing every week. That's keeping me safe. So I ain't finna stop them. And every now and then he would come and he would slip in the back, and we'll come in. But one thing I remember, it was years ago. I used to ask him about church. He was like, "Man, I'm just gonna tell you why I ain't going to church." I was like, "Why?" He was like, "Man, your mom be up there singing, I can't take it." I was like, "Cause your spirit is like." But anyway. That's neither here nor there. So we are neglected to give our children something that our parents gave us, and that's their God and their reverence for God. We grew up in houses where cartoons came on Saturdays.
Yeah, that's right.
Not 24 hours. We had no 24-hour channel. We grew up in houses where we ate at the table.
Yes.
We grew up in houses where we didn't eat out of paper plates. My brother didn't eat on he ate a white plate. He didn't want no yellow one, no black one. He wanted a white plate. And so what has happened is maybe, and I'm just saying this hypothetically, maybe this generation does not reverence God because maybe we don't show them that we reverence God.
I think a lot of what we did too, going back during that time,
Yeah.
we got old enough, we felt like everything they were doing is unnecessary. So now that we're old enough, we are the adults now.
Yeah.
And some of us, like you said, when you grew up in this environment, you never regret it.
Yeah.
But when you were just a subject of it, it's like, I did it, I ain't want to do it.
Yeah.
So now, I don't subject my kids to that. You know, that's the attitude that a lot of people have.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, you know what, it made me to be.
Yeah. It did.
I heard my beliefs, it made me to be this diligent person.
Yeah.
So my kids need that.
Right.
But it's so much, you know, that old outdated way is just old and outdated.
So how can we change that if we see that as a need? It's just like we live in a generation, like I know, like, man, this is sad. It's a sad day. Like Pop Warner and these little league programs are, I mean, they starting these children young.
Yes.
And they are basically raising children to be athletes from 5 to 6 years old. And that's all they know. I got a friend that went to seminary with me, and I tell him all the time, he get upset with me, that I said, man, you doing a coach, you ain't got time to be on that. Because you got in karate, you doing this with her, mama's deceased. She doing it, and I said, when she have time to be your daughter and be her dad? Like it's always something. I talk to him, they at the ballpark, and he said, going up the staff, he blowing the whistle, he the coach. I'm like, dude, what you doing? When you gonna take your daughter out? She about to be 13 years old. She needs to be taken on a date. You know, these boys gonna be out, she need to know what's what, but you too busy trying to raise people. So maybe we have done our children a disservice. And we have not, as you said, given them some of the stuff that was given to us because we were saying we're not going to subject our children to that. But that's why our children get to college, or when they go to college, if they're not strong in their faith, they become Muslims. They become haters of Christian religion because they get in books and they get with these people. They have been exposed to other religions. And then because they're not rooted in their faith, we all did it. I went to Stillman College for a year, and there were people that were, now how you own a college campus that's sponsored by a Presbyterian school, but you're atheist? I don't see why we gotta go to chapel. Cause this is a church school. That was the only class I passed the first semester. Then in choir. Because I wasn't going to the rest. I went to the, I mean, I might have went about the first, I got the syllabus. Then I went to choir, I went to choirs every day at 3. And I went to piano lessons on Tuesday at 2. And that's it. Then I went to club hay. Don't do that with still. Before we had, you know, that's what we had a club downstairs at Hey All. That's where we went. And so that's where I spend my time. And my grades reflect that. Hard. Matter of fact, my roommate was my cousin. Me and James were roommates. And he was going to class, but I wouldn't. That's a cousin, I'll let you. Where you going, man? Don't worry about it. I'm going. You need something? All right, then. I'm gone. I don't think. But anyway, I said all that to say this. So how can we get back to that burning that we had the love of Christ, the love of church, the love to be around the saints. How can we get back to that? Because I think that is something that is missing, because I think we have all kind of excuses. People make up excuses why they don't do this, why they do it. I mean, our children have phones. I mean, you know, I think Carol, a couple weeks ago, I'm in the den, she in the bedroom, because you know it's Hallmark season.
Yeah.
So when I get home, I make her go to the back, and she texting me. Now we 4 steps from each other, but she texted me, asking me some question. I'm like, I'm right here, like, come here. So maybe these screens have distracted us in such a way. I know it has, because, okay, curriculum in school. I remember we had this class, I can't remember what it was, it might have been bookkeeping or something, but it was in like middle school, like they taught us how to write a check. I forgot, these children, they don't even know how to write. They don't know anything about checks. They taught us how to balance the checkbook, all this time. They don't do none of that. Some of that was life skills, but it was good. But I said all that to say this, so we ain't that, you know, ain't nobody in here 80 years old, so we ain't that far removed from what we have been taught. Why are we not teaching our children to have the love of God and the love for the church that we grew up with our parents? Like that's a serious issue.
The level of instantaneous access without actually being in the presence of that person. And it keeps people out of personal space of each other, which means your personal skills go to nothing.
I agree. And I have a friend that did not go to the movies because he grew up in a Pentecostal church until he did not see the inside of a movie theater until he was 18. He don't go to church anymore. You know why? Because I believe we're doing a disservice. We got to teach them balance.
Yes.
It's got a balance. Church is good, but I don't believe you need to keep folk in church 7 days a week. That ain't gonna help you. That old school church, they kept you in church. They were like, you know, we just keep them in church. We had a night service. You know, we shout. We had a terror service. They too tired to think about it. Like, whatever. Stuff was going down in the church while they were tie in the floor. It was. I'm just saying. So they kept on. So I'm not saying that all you need to think about church. No, you need to have balance. You need to enjoy yourself. You need to go out sometimes. You need to see. I tell some children and parents need to see other people.
Yes.
When JJ come to our house, JJ be so glad. I said, JJ, I'm talking about, he act like he a free slave when he come out. I sat him down on the couch last night. I was like, man, calm down, because he thought he wanted to go back home. And I was like, no, man. I said, well, why you be so glad to come? He was like, man, I be with girls all the time. I just be want to be with some boys. I'm like, okay. I said, you got your dad? Yeah, but he an old dude. He thinking that, but I'll tell you, 9, 10, 11, 10, yeah, he just turned 10. But I said all that to say this. Basically, what he's telling me is, I need to see other people. Then I need balance in my life. And so I'm saying to all of you guys is, ain't nothing wrong with you missing a Sunday or 2 or 3 or however you want to, but when you put everything before God, then you are making other things your God. When you ain't never got time for nothing else but God, but then you checking in and you turning up and you doing this and you at this party, you at that party. And here's the thing, I go places so less that when I do show up, they be so glad to see me like, Jeff, what you been? Hell. All right. Let me move on. Go ahead.
I gotta say, it's like, and I know we're gonna brag on it in front to give you flowers while you leave. But if more people, we can't control more other preachers, but more preachers need to I mean by that, you say from the pulpit that, everything in religion all the time. And when children hear that, especially teenagers, hear that coming from you, and they are able to see, they're able to see you dignified, and they're able to see you go old school. We've been getting the same treatment that we got growing up in bad. I mean, you appreciate it. But children are able to see that, and they're able to hear that right here in the church. And most people are not going to be real with children like that. And we know when you deal with teenagers, I mean, even my little 7-year-old, you got to be straight and real with it. You can't sit up and think you're going to sugarcoat something, and they don't believe it. It ain't going to happen. So when they hear it, and they see it, and they see it in practice, because then it's like now the church becomes relevant to them.
And I think the thing that the church is afraid of, especially with this next generation, is that they are afraid that they ask questions.
Yes.
See, we didn't ask questions. Okay, you can't walk across the front of the church. Why? I mean, we didn't. We were like, oh, okay, that's the whole thing. You know, we didn't. I mean, we were like, oh, okay, mom. But these children gonna be like, well, why I can't do it? Why I got to go all the way around there when I just come up here? Like they gonna ask you that. And sometimes the church is uncomfortable with asking people asking questions because they don't have no answer. Because the answer is because we just been doing it. Well, this is what we do. I mean, even who was that? Kim was telling me about PK. PK was asking her somebody why we do something. And Kim told I said, I forgot what it was. It was some months ago. Kim came with me, and PK asked her. She said, "Well, I want to ask. I don't know why she." And she said, "PK said, yeah, you need to ask our preacher." I mean, she wanted to know, and it was something. I don't know what it was, but I had to talk to her. I had been up there and talk to her. Like, you know, I can't even remember what it was. But then I asked him a little later. I said, "Well, did that sacrifice?" She was like, "Yeah," but she still, she still wanted a little more. I said, "Okay, I whatever." Anyway.
My teenagers, because they talk about you all the time at home, and Chelsea says that she receives everything that you preach. Because
I gotta watch Caleb because I believe Caleb. Caleb it's scary. Caleb reminds me of myself so much. I'm like, when y'all put that video up, I was like, oh my God. I used to do stuff like that. Yeah, I used to do stuff. I was like, oh my God.
They talk about you all the time. She said she understands when you breaks down everything. She be quiet, but she said, I listen to everything you say.
I had taken my mom's car to the service in Birmingham one time, and the sales guy was talking to me, and somehow we got on church, and he asked me where I went. So I told him where I went, and how we have a good time at Bible study, and we get to ask questions and dialogue. And he said, "Y'all talk on Bible study?" I was like, "That's why I go." That's what he told me. He was like, "I've never really heard of churches that a pastor that would allow there to be back and forth dialogue," because I was like, "Well, what else are you gonna ask your questions?"
Exactly.
And that's
It's Bible study.
Right. But that blew his mind.
But it goes back to what I said. We church people to death. Like every time. Like, I mean, the reason I sent y'all that on text message, because I want y'all to fill it out. And I want y'all to be truthful. Because we ain't got to have no scripture, prayer, no word every time we meet. Why we just can't meet sometimes? Be like, okay, well, let's just do this and we're going to go both. The whole thing and here's the thing that we got to get back to doing as a church. And when I was looking at this thing, I said, I got to tell y'all this tonight. Like when we first started, we started as a fellowship. And we don't fellowship. We were going to the movies. We were going bowling. Ministry was doing stuff. We got to get back to that because that's how we started. And so that's the way that we were able to, because here's the thing, everybody religious at church. I need to get you away from him. And I got to see what you really working with. Because I need to know you. I mean, I know the sister so-and-so and the brother so-and-so. I need to know your first name. Like I already know Kendall is. You know, but she but so, let me give you this next one. Not first. Titus 1, 5 through 9. In order to have a church, we talk about the Lord's Supper, we gotta have 2 or 3. Then you gotta have, here's the problem. I'm gonna hang my hat right here, and I'm gonna let y'all go, because Clark got a person, we gotta go over some stuff. And they do a wonderful job with the limited time that they have. They don't have that much time, but they do what they gotta do. But they can't do it like that, they get something. And Titus 1, 5 through 9. Paul says this to Titus. He says, this is why I left you in Crete, so that you might put what remained into order and appoint elders in every town as I directed you. And if anyone is above reproach, the husband of one wife and his children, I believe you are not open to the charge of debauchery or insubordination. For an overseer, as God's steward, must be above reproach. He must not be arrogant or quick-tempered. Pray for me. I ain't arrogant, but I'm quick-tempered. Or drunken, or violent, or greedy for gain, but hospitable, a lover of good, self-control, upright, holy, and disciplined. He must hold firm to the trustworthy word as taught, so that he may be able to give instructions in sound doctrine, also to rebuke those who contradict it. And so you got to have a church with qualified leaders. The problem is that a lot of churches have people that's leading that are not qualified. I was talking to a preacher, Lee, shout out to Lee. Lee is one of our internet members. He's a minister, and we were talking with just about preaching. And I was telling him, I said, man, every church that I pastor, because we live in a time where there's a website of vacant churches, all right? And so you can send your resume all over the country, all right? I was preaching 11 years before I became a pastor. And these jokers want to preach one day and start pastoring next week. All right? Because they want everything flat. I have been preaching 11 years. I have been up under my pastor, all this kind of stuff. I never applied for a church. Never. When my home church, when my pastor died, and they asked me to apply, and I did out of respect for my late pastor. All right? But it wasn't what God told me. It was what they wanted. You see, I ain't that right? Because that ain't what God wanted. And so I got, matter of fact, watch this. I'm gonna show you how people try to use your gift and try to prostitute you. Rhonda, you remember, Stephanie, y'all remember, they announced the month schedule for preachers. A month, they had never done it before. And on this particular Sunday, they announced that Jeff Thompson was going to be here from Florida. And I called and I said, me and Carol talked about it. Matter of fact, Carol like, you know, how you feel about it? I said, I don't know how I feel about it. I said, I don't think I need to go. She was like, yeah, then we talked about some stuff. Then men, you got to listen to your wife sometimes, because sometimes the Lord speaks through your wife. She said, you just did revival in April. She said, why you got to go back and preach? They know you grew up there. If they want you, they need to call you. This my wife said this now. So, that particular day, I was in the spirit and I heard her. I was in the spirit that day now. And I heard her. I received it. And I called the chairman and I was like, hey, you know, I said, I was talking to my wife. I said, you know, I applied because I asked me to apply. You know, I said, but I just did revival there and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I said, I ain't, you know, why y'all gotta go through this? Why y'all gotta go through this process? I grew up in this church. And he was like, well, you know, we just got a process. I said, okay, well, y'all got a process. I said, you know, if God want me to be there, he'll make a way, but I ain't coming. I'm on the phone. What he didn't do, he did not tell the congregation I wasn't coming, but he booked somebody else that they wanted. And the church was jam-packed. And when they got there, they were disappointed. And folk walked out. I said all that to say this, that this thing about church and spirit and about following the voice of God is real. I ain't bragging. I preached 11 years before I became a pastor, and I didn't apply for that church. I didn't run after that church. They called me. Every church that I pastored, they called me. I didn't call them. And so my pastor taught me that that's not what you do. Every church that's vacant, there are some pastors, and that's why we're talking about leadership. You got to have a right leader. There are some pastors that apply for every church that come available in a 60-mile radius. And you can't tell me God's speaking to you about that many churches. He just ain't doing it. So what has happened to the church, and I'm getting to my point, and I'm close, is that we have people that are leading churches that are not called to be pastors, but they're called to be evangelists. You know why? That I know they called to be evangelists? Look at how many times they absent on Wednesday night and Sunday. I turned down, and I was telling Lee this last night, I turn down more engagements than I take because I know the Lord called me to pastor. Not that I don't want nobody else to preach, but I'm sensitive to who I allow to speak into my folk life. Yes. Because I know everybody God ain't called. I got some friends that I go preach for that they'll never preach here. I'll tell you. I'll go preach for them, but they ain't gonna never preach here because nah, bro, you ain't. Because I'm a pastor, and what a pastor does or what a leader does, the leader is always looking out for the flock. The other thing is, watch this, the other thing is when you talk about church is, we live in a time where we have preachers that should be retired that can't retire. Because they looked out for the church all these years and now they sick and the church won't look out for them. I put in my notes, but nobody gonna say amen, but careful. Because you can spend your whole life going to the bedside of your members' loved ones. You can spend your whole life marrying them, going to houses, blessing houses, doing baby blessings, and when you need them the most, at the end of the day, folks just selfish. If it ain't about them, they don't care nothing about you. And that's why my pastor told me from day one, don't ever have your belly in the church mouth. I didn't know what that meant, but when I got grown, gone, and on my own, I said, oh, okay, this is what you were talking about. See, that's why I don't have to stand up and have 2 or 3 offers. Some of these pastors, they got to live by what the folk give. So that's why they got to stand up there 20 minutes and have $100 line and all. I need $10,000. Well, okay, hey, bro, you might not get it. We all struggling. Trump been off. We all trying to hold on to what we got. And so we got people that are leading congregations that are counterfeit leaders. There's a difference in a pastor and a preacher. A pastor loves settings like this, like Nick said. But a pastor loves this. But if all you want to do is have church, the reason that all you want to do is have church is because you ain't no teacher. Teachers teach. Walt ain't in there preaching to the children. He teaching the children. Teaching is repetitive. It's going over the same thing over and over again to get it. We didn't learn our timetable until it was repetitive. I still don't know all of them. I get a little shake on my 12. I got them 11s now. The 12. When I compare my 12 times 9, I got to get the calculator out. 12 times 10. Yeah. So, and it's repetitive, so that's how we learn. And so you have to have a setting for people to grow. And you can't grow through no preaching. You grow through teaching. You know, that's how you grow through teaching. It's repetitive teaching. Because what happens is there's sometimes I open my Bible or I open my iPad with my Bible on here and I can look at a verse and the Lord will tell me something totally different about the verse that I ain't never seen and I've been preaching in 25 years. And so I told you, man, I said, man, don't be in a hurry to become a pastor. I know that it's, you looking at other people around. I said, but you don't want to end up. I said, sometimes you can be anointed and not ready. I'm glad I didn't start pastoring when I started preaching. I started preaching when I was 16. If I would have started pastoring when I was, I still had some stuff in me God had to get out. I would have been a mess. You talking about a scoundrel. You talking about Bishop Greenleaf. It would have been a mess. That's why God didn't do it. I made one mistake one time, I'm done. I had a girlfriend at the time. I went to preach somewhere. Remember, surprised me and came. Had a little youth revival with him. And I made a mistake. I ain't know the mistake. I asked the girl to stand up. She said, and I just noticed from him the face like turned, I don't know what. He ain't moved the whole time I preached, so we got back to the back. I was like, Doc, everything all right. He was like, no, what you do there for? I said, what? He said, who you married to? I said, nobody. He said, well, why the hell you had us there? I said, because she asked me, what if you got to go back to preaching them 2 years from now? You ain't going to have the same girl. Okay, Doc, so I learned a valuable lesson. Don't invite nobody. All right, so we got to have leaders that know how to lead. Now, the other thing, the other piece of that puzzle is, it's sad that we have people that lead churches that think they can do something. But really, they can't. The tree is known by what? So if you preaching or you teaching and God has anointed you to do this, then there ought to be some evidence. Yeah, exactly. You ought to be some evidence. When you bite down in the orange, you don't want it to taste like no pap. Now, and people say, well, we don't judge. We're not judges, but we are fruit inspectors. And even though y'all are not preachers, you've been around enough preachers to know when a joker preaching and when they ain't. That don't mean you judging the person for preaching. It's just like oh, okay then. Yeah. Because everybody, I tell guys all the time, you gotta know the anointing that you flow in. If you're not a hooper, don't try to hoop. Get up there and teach and sit down. Martin Luther King wasn't no hooper, but he was a great orator. Alright? So, I'm done. So we gotta get that burning back. We gotta get that back. We gotta get this fellowship back. And thank y'all for everything that y'all do. Known, unknown, seen, unseen. Continue to do what you're doing. Saturday.